Scientists just taught bees Morse code, so if they start negotiating terms for world domination, we can only blame ourselves. Welcome to the Goodish News channel. I'm Ashley, and I'm here to prove that not all news is bad news. Just most of it. Researchers at Queen Mary University of London built a maze using flashing circles emitting short and long light pulses to test bees' timing abilities. Some circles had a short half-second pulse, like a dot in Morse code or the letter E. Others had a longer 5-second pulse, like a dash or the letter T. Now, you might be thinking, call me when they learn the whole alphabet or can write a post on Twitter. But just stick with me. Things are about to get interesting. The bees were trained that one duration of light meant sugar water, while the other meant a bitter drink of quinine. Talk about liquid disappointment. To ensure the bees weren't just remembering the location of the sugar, the researchers kept changing where the circles appeared in the maze. So the bees couldn't memorize left equals food, they had to actually process the timing of the flashes. And they figured it out. But then the researchers pulled the proverbial rug out from under the bees and removed the food reward and the bitter punishment completely. No more sugar water, no more quinine, just flashing lights. And the bees kept choosing the correct duration. They remembered which timing pattern meant food, even when they weren't being rewarded with it. Up until this study, only a handful of animals were known to be able to discern between time intervals, including rats, pigeons, and macaques. So just how smart are bees? Well, if we're going off of brain size, you wouldn't expect much. In fact, let me show you the brain size they're working with. Hold on, I need to get something from my kitchen. I'll be right back. Do you see that? No? Hold on, I'll get closer. The size of a single sesame seed. A brain you could fit on the head of a pin just proved it can learn and remember temporal patterns too. And the timing experiment, that's just scratching the surface. I know the bees figuring out the difference between a short flash versus a long flash doesn't sound all that exciting. But here's what makes this discovery so crazy. Bees access memories the same way we do, and they make the same memory mistakes. You know how sometimes you can't remember where you left your keys today because you're mixing it up with where you put them yesterday? Bees do that too. In a totally different study, scientists discovered bees confuse similar experiences by combining elements from different past events into false memories. This is called a memory conjunction error, and it's a hallmark of episodic memory, which is the ability to remember specific events in context. I visited this flower yesterday morning versus I visited that flower this afternoon. For decades, scientists thought this kind of memory required a massive brain. Primates, maybe some birds, but bees? With their sesame seed-sized brains? Not a chance. This isn't just pattern recognition anymore. They're actually forming memories, not just running on instinct. They're building a mental database of experiences. And in the Queen Mary study, that's exactly what they proved. Even after removing all rewards, the bees remembered. The learning stuck permanently. But if bees can learn individually and remember like we do, here's the real question. Can they teach each other? In recent research, scientists built a 2-step puzzle box for bumblebees. The bees had to push a blue tab out of the way in order to move a red tab that eventually led to a reward. The tabs had to be pushed in the correct order, or the bees were left to just frustratingly stare at their would-be treat through plastic. Sounds pretty miserable if you ask me. The researchers put unexperienced bees in front of the puzzle, and amazingly, nothing happened. 0 bees figured it out on their own. But then they introduced demonstrator bees. The unexperienced bees watched, and thanks to the help of their friends, they were eventually able to accomplish the task on their own. This is cultural transmission, knowledge passing between individuals. Think of the first mobile phone. It weighed over 4 pounds. And I'm sure the connection left a lot to be desired. But person after person and company after company improved on the technology, and now we're essentially packing around a miniature computer in our pockets. Before the studies like this, we thought cultural transmission required big brains, like primates teaching tool use or dolphins passing on hunting techniques. Even crows sharing problem-solving strategies. But bees? They're running social learning networks with fewer than 1 million neurons. In comparison, humans have 86 billion. The Morse Code study showed bees can learn timing patterns, and research like this shows they can share knowledge. They don't just survive on instinct. Knowledge transfer happens inside a hive. So how does a brain this small pull off something this sophisticated? Well, it's not about the size of the brain. Bees don't just use their brains, they use their entire bodies. When bees are learning patterns like those light flashes, they're moving, adjusting position, and using flight dynamics to help process visual information. This is called embodied cognition. The brain doesn't work in isolation, it uses physical movement to enhance learning. It's not about brain size, it's about brain efficiency. And engineers are paying attention. There's an entire field called neuromorphic computing, building computer chips inspired by brain efficiency. Researchers are using bee brain architecture to design autonomous drones that navigate without GPS, nanorobots, and even Mars rovers. Current AI requires massive server farms. Bee brains fit on a pinhead and run on sugar water. If we can figure out how they do it, we could revolutionize robotics, autonomous systems, and even how we build computers. That's not just smart for a bee. It's pretty impressive by any standard. If you're looking for more good news in your life, be sure to check out this video right here. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing so we can ignore all the bad news together.